As I mentioned earlier, my name is Melissa Freeney Young. I am the Director of Strategic Partnerships at Forward. And before we jump into today's webinar, I want to share just a bit about why I'm personally here and why I am so excited about today's conversation. I've spent over 20 years working alongside communities and public serving organizations in different capacities. I've been the Chief of Staff to the Mayor of Compton for 7 years. I led social and community impact at Nike, investing in nonprofits in organizations like the folks here on this call. And I've also helped families in Jordan Downs with very strategic programming before their development was redesigned. And throughout all of those experiences, one thing has remained incredibly consistent. The nonprofits, community organizations, the cities, the frontline team members that are doing this work always have a strong heart and commitment to the passion that they serve. We show up every single day to help people, but rarely do those public servants have the tools that actually make their job easier. Too often, the people who need the help the most are expected to navigate 1,000 different systems with confusing eligibility requirements. Sometimes those are language, sometimes there are multiple programs that they need to find, and usually it's just a long time to wait before they figure out where to start. And the organizations trying to help them do that work are usually stretched super thin and rarely have the newest technologies to do the work that's really important to them. But since joining Forward more than 3 years ago, I have finally seen what feels like, one second, I'm sorry about that. But since joining Forward more than 3 years ago, I have finally seen what feels like the light at the end of the tunnel. Forward is an economic mobility platform and solution that has helped governments and nonprofits across the country deliver more than $1 billion in aid and services. We have served and helped over 300,000 residents and businesses and have worked with over 1,500 government agencies and the nonprofits and community organizations that do the work on the ground in these specific cities and counties. And what excites me the most about the technology you're about to see today is that it was not built by just software developers trying to figure out public programs. It was built by the people who run them. I work with a team of amazing program administrators and engineers that run programs every single day. We have managed applications, we have coordinated staff, we have navigated complex requirements, answered participant questions, and experienced firsthand the challenges that comes with helping people access support. The tools you're about to see today were actually built from those experiences. These are the tools that I wish I had throughout my career. These are the tools that me and my colleagues are so excited about to share with you today. And these are the tools that were built by people who understand the pressure of serving communities with limited resources, growing demand, and just increasingly complex systems, and sometimes a lot of limitations on the programs that we all once knew to be very standard and available. And because these tools were born from real program administration, they don't just add another piece of technology to manage, or a tool or a survey tool here and an application here. They help people to find support faster, they help staff focus on the work that matters most, and they help organizations serve more people without ever sacrificing accessibility, compliance, or quality, which we know are critical components of delivering public programs. That's why I'm really, really excited about this session today, because there is light at the end of the tunnel. The people who care about people, who serve people, the tools are here now. And for the first time in my career, I am able to show organizations technology that it doesn't just digitize the work or create a new CRM, but it actually makes the work easier, both for your clients and for your team. By the end of today, my hope is that you will walk away not just with seeing technology, but by seeing a different model for how communities can connect people to support faster, more clearly, and more equitably than ever before. So let's get started. We have about 40 minutes together, and I just want to walk through really quickly what we're going to go over today. I'm actually going to start with the sector context, because I think it's important to name what's actually happening right now before we talk about how organizations are responding to it. Then we'll look at what the navigation gap actually costs, which is a lot bigger than most organizations have calculated. I'll share a framework for what good navigation infrastructure looks like, which you can use to evaluate any approach, including what you're about to see today. Then we'll look at how organizations are actually using Ally in practice, talk about responsible deployment, and then go live with a demo of both Forward Ally and Forward Sync. Bring your questions throughout. I believe we have gotten the chat enabled. We also have the Q&A logged in. And we'll make sure that we will watch the chat in real time. We have our team members that are also on the call to answer questions as they come up. And so I want to start with where organizations are now because context matters. According to the Center for Effective Philanthropy 2026 State of Nonprofits report, nearly 3 out of 4 nonprofits report increased demand for services. I think we all know this to be true, and these stats you guys probably already know in real time, but I'll just go over them quickly. At the same time, 2/3 are concerned about financial stability. Every single day or every month, we are hearing that there are cuts in certain programs that a lot of nonprofits depend on and are critical to their operations. And nearly 40% operated at a deficit last year. And nonprofit leaders and their staff 46% report that burnout continues to rise. And so what this points to is a simple reality. Organizations are being asked to serve more people. This is not a new concept. With fewer resources, also not a new concept. But teams are continuously being stretched even thinner, and thinner. And one place that this pressure shows up most visibly is the front door of your organization. So when people look you up on your website, or they might walk into the front door of your brick and mortar, that pressure happens right there. Helping people find the right programs, helping them understand what they qualify for, helping them complete intake, and helping them to stay connected to the services once they finish that application, we all know can be very, very difficult. For many organizations, those responsibilities fall on the frontline staff who are already balancing dozens of competing priorities, whether they're in the field, whether they're at an event, whether they're in the office. We know that frontline staff always have a huge plate of things to get accomplished. And my goal today is to make it simpler to help people from the start and to show your organizations and to also show you organizations that are using this technology to currently unlock capacity, reduce administrative burden, and make it easier for people to find and access the support they need. Because when we make it easier for people to navigate the services, we make it easier for people like you to deliver on your mission. But before we go any further, I'm curious to hear from you all. We've talked about pressures and we all know what those are, but I know they're changing every day. We have a very quick poll. And the question is, what is putting the most pressure on your organization today? Would love to hear from you all on that. Funding and budget constraints, staffing shortages, technology and outdated systems. I think one thing we also realize are a lot of these issues are interconnected, but would love to see where you guys are sitting today on June 16th. We are almost halfway through the year, and I know those challenges continue to change. Awesome. So the top one is funding and budget constraints. Second is staffing shortages and burnout. Thank you so much for your response. Awesome. So as we continue, and before we talk about these solutions, let's talk about what the problem is from both sides. We've kind of talked about this a bit, but for applicants, finding help can be overwhelming. They don't know what programs exist. They aren't sure what they qualify for. They ask to navigate multiple websites and agencies and applications. But there's also another side of this problem. For organizations, staff spend countless hours answering the same questions over and over and over again. Do I qualify? What programs or what documents do I need? What's the status of my application? And where do I start? As these questions pile up, staff become overloaded. It creates intake bottlenecks, and many people fall out of the process before they ever receive support. I think we've all seen the stats that there are billions of dollars in public and nonprofit funding that go unapplied for. And how do we unlock and unrelease the challenges that stand before that funding? The result is a gap, not only in not being able to serve those people, but also the gap in reporting what the actual need is. Organizations will continue or are continuing to struggle to connect people with the programs that they've worked so hard to build. And this is a navigation gap. Often, sometimes even your funders, if you don't have the data to know who came to your site, but who couldn't find your information, that is a piece of data that is a gap in how you can report to your funders how many people are actually looking for support and services if they never even make it to your application. So, what does a better experience look like? It starts by meeting people where they are, whether that's chat, voice, phone, or web. I think we're all on our phones every single day, and it's the same for our constituents and our communities. Whether it's during business hours or late at night, whether they speak English or Spanish or Korean or Vietnamese or any other language. And most importantly, it starts by answering a simple question: what can I get help with? Before asking someone to complete a form, or upload a document, or navigate all these different websites, we should help by helping them to understand what program fit their situation first. The goal is to help them find the support they need with one conversation that unlocks many programs and gives them a strong place to start. That's the experience that we're going to show you soon. And so how are organizations using Ally? It's this front door. We're talking about front door. We're talking about navigation. Many of the organizations, cities, and community partners that we work with are navigating the same structural challenge. Demand is increasing, policies are changing, and frontline teams are being asked to help with more people, but the systems are more complex. But one area where this is becoming especially visible is around public benefits navigation. Organizations like the City of Memphis and Cleveland and their nonprofit ecosystems are using Forward Ally to help residents understand the changing Medicare and SNAP requirements connected to the recent HR 1 policy changes. The City of Memphis and Cleveland have the Ally tool. They have invited their nonprofit networks to this tool. And I'll show you all the back end of what this looks like during the demo, but they have given Ally the accurate information about SNAP and Medicare, and all of their nonprofits are able to access a single source of truth when answering questions around eligibility. At the same time, one of the programs we're running in the city of LA are using Ally to answer high volume questions that happen before staff intervention is actually necessary. This program is for senior citizens and those with disabilities, and there are thousands of questions around eligibility requirements. It's a very complex program. What are the required documents? How do we dive deeper into required documents? An income statement, how do we describe that, and how do we provide the options? What is the most current program information? Is the program closed? What are the application timelines, and what is the status of the application? On that one program alone, within 2 weeks, Forward Ally rerouted and answered 2,500 calls from the community. Those were calls where questions got answered before a staff person ever had to pick up the phone. It's always an option for the staff person to pick up the phone if a person needs continued assistance, but imagine a one-stop shop where your community can get answers before your team has to intervene. And importantly, this support is happening in multiple languages and across channels without requiring organizations to dramatically expand their staff capacity. What changes operationally is that staff spend less time repeating the same navigation information over and over and over, and have more time supporting the cases that actually require human expertise and judgment. Other areas where we're using, our partners are using Forward Ally are in disaster recovery here in Los Angeles, as well as St. Louis, recovering from the fires and the tornadoes. And they're using Forward Ally to help their communities navigate all of the different programs that are offered, and finding the ones that are a really great fit for their place and their status in their recovery journey. Clients, when using Ally, also arrive better prepared. They understand program requirements early, so that means that they can get more specific with their questions if they ever need to talk to a staff person. They know what documents are needed. They're able, again, to dive deeper into document request. And intake conversations become more productive because people are entering the process with better information. And so time for another poll, just really quick. We want to know, what tools are your teams currently using to manage programs to support clients? We work with various partners. We hear all the time that a lot of agencies are still using spreadsheets and email and phone, and there's nothing wrong with that. We've all been there, and we all still use spreadsheets. They're critical. Some folks have CRMs that they've had to highly customize, or sometimes even hire a person to manage their CRM. Some folks only use a third-party directory or referral platform. And some people may be using AI-powered tools. I see there are a few folks that are already using AI. Shout out to you all for being brave and stepping into the new space. And some people are still evaluating options. And so from this poll here, it looks like mostly manual. And you'll see how easy it is for your team to use a tool like Ally as we jump into the demo that may be able to replace some of those manual processes. We can end the poll now. Awesome. Great. I'll close this out. And so one more slide before we jump into the demo. And I just want to spend a few minutes on what responsible AI deployment looks like. What Ally does and what Ally doesn't. The question isn't whether organizations will use Ally assisted navigation tools. It looks like a few of us on the call, some are using it, some are not. But the question is whether those tools are governed responsibly, grounded in approved content, so only information that your agency gives it, and designed to support staff rather than operate outside of them. So the tool I'm going to show you today does not replace staff, but it only helps to make their jobs easier. Here you can see what Ally does. It guides constituents to the right program. It answers navigation questions accurately in multiple languages. It supports structured intake and passes information to staff workflows. And when it reaches the edge of what it's configured to handle, it will recommend clients to speak to a human. So, hey, here's the information. If this didn't help you, here's the number you can call to get more information. But it does not make eligibility decisions. It will take information that the client provided and make recommendations. That decision is still in your staff's hand. It does not operate outside of the content your organization has approved. I think we are all in an era of misinformation or wrong information. And it's very, very critical that our clients and our customers trust the information and content that we give them. And every response that is made within the Forward Ally tool is auditable. These are not features. These are governance requirements. And these are the requirements that our team has built within this tool because we run public and nonprofit programs, and we understand how sensitive data is. We understand how sensitive communities are with receiving information that is accurate. So now it's time for the demo. I'm super, super excited about this part. And so I will start from the constituent perspective. I'll show you how someone can find programs, understand eligibility requirements, receive guidance in their preferred language, up to 50 languages, get answers to common questions without having to navigate multiple websites. And the goal here is simple: to help people understand what support is available and what steps they need to take next. If you all have any questions, please again, drop them in the chat. And so you see I have a few tabs open here. This is a live demo, and this is actually available to your teams today. After this phone call, you all can actually create a demo based on the information that is available, based on the information that's available on your site. So I will jump into this. We will go into a voice demo. You can actually also just text chat with this tool, but I'll show you all how this works in real time.
Hi, I'm Allie with Cares Connect 211. What kind of help can I find for you today?
I'm here with my grandmother. Can you help us find programs that she might be eligible for?
Of course, I'd be glad to help. Let's go through a few quick questions to find the best programs for her. Here's the first question. What is her age?
She's 85.
Which types of programs are you interested in? Select all that apply: food and nutrition, healthcare, or employment and workforce.
We'll select food and nutrition.
What is your grandmother's date of birth? This helps us determine her age for program eligibility.
Her birthday is October 1st, 1940.
Do you currently reside in Los Angeles County? What is your approximate monthly household income before taxes? Include income from all sources. If you only know yearly, you can divide by 12.
$1,500 a month.
We've found several programs that your grandmother may be eligible for. Here are the top matches. First, the In-Home Supportive Services IHSS program, which provides support for California residents who need in-home care. Second, the Magna Community Food Pantry, which offers food assistance with broad community access. Third, SNAP application assistance, which can help apply for food benefits, meeting the income eligibility for lower income households. There are more matches available as well. You can view the full details using the results link. If you'd like information on any specific program or help with the next steps, just let me know.
So what you all saw was just a really quick walkthrough of collecting a few questions at the top of this chat and it recommending 9 different programs based on the responses from this client. You can see 6 more matches here. And you can see all of the results that are available for this specific client based on their response. Once we go to this chat, we could also ask it to speak in different languages. Let's also ask what additional information for the ENP program. Are there documents required for the ENP program? It was listening to what I said.
For the In-Home Supportive Services IHSS program, there are 2 key documents required. 1, the healthcare certification form, known as the SOC 873. This must be filled out by a physician or other licensed healthcare professional. 2, the application for IHSX, known as the SOC 295. These need to be submitted as part of the application process. If you need more details or help with any of these documents, feel free to ask.
And so as you see in the tool, you can also toggle down to other programs that this client qualified for, and it will provide a checklist of required documentation. You can continue down this path of conversations with the Ally tool to ask for required documents. If you were to speak a different language, you could also do that as well. But for the sake of this demo, we're going to end this here. And so once this session is complete, it will create a conversation summary. This summary of the programs and required documents can be emailed to this client. It can be copied. If a case manager was using this tool to help someone who walked through the front door, they can print this out for them in real time. And again, this is a demo environment, but this can be customized with the programs, and I'll show you all how to do that on the back end. The second thing I will show you, depending on how your community is configured or how you want to deliver resources and navigation to your constituents, another way to, within the Forward Ally tool, is what we call a navigator. So all of your programs can be listed here. They can use certain filters. And so thinking about how you filter through most sites online, whether that's for shopping or e-commerce, we have created a navigator that helps participants filter through the programs that they need. You can answer questions here, and it will then filter even further for programs that you might qualify for. And as you see, it will recommend, hey, maybe you might qualify for this. Let's confirm your residency. The third area that we have created within Forward Ally is what we call a screener. And so some folks want a conversational tool. Some people want that navigator view where you can toggle on and off to filter through the programs. But we also have what we call a screener. This is what we would call like a common application. So it will take all of the programs within your system, within your directory, and start a very basic screener. This is going to walk through the same rationale that we did through the voice option, but this does not require voice. This can be a tool that is on a kiosk when you first walk into your building or on the front end of your website. And it could clearly or quickly connect people with programs that they qualify for. And so you see the results here are the same. And so the other thing that Screener allows is for, and we'll show this in the second part of the demo, is once they qualify or once they identify programs that are a strong match, they can get help with applying. So this then helps them to pass their information on to your team. So not only does Forward Ally collect the information from the top end, but it also collects it and gives it to your team in a way that can be used. And so that there can be feedback and communication back with your client. There'll be other questions that follow here, but we'll skip this for now. And so I will go back to our deck just to keep us organized. The second part of the demo I'll show you is what does it look like to manage these programs without much technical complexity. Everything I've shown you today requires no code. It doesn't require your IT person to have to access the back end. I'm going to show you what it looks like to set up these programs, to configure eligibility, to adjust intake questions, and to look at analytics and reporting dashboards. I will go back to our overview here. And so when you go into the back end, this is the view that you see as an administrator. You see all of your programs here. These programs are just a copy and paste from your website. So you don't have to recreate any documentation. You literally go in, add a program, and you drop the page URL. It will read it on the back end and create all of the details for this program. You'll see contact information, eligibility. It will clearly identify the eligibility. This is where, again, this is governed and trusted information that your organization provides, but it will organize the eligibility for that program, even by category. It will include any application info. This program doesn't have an active link you have to call to get support, and it will provide an overview here. And so that's how easy it is to add programs and to keep a catalog of all the programs that your agency is offering to your community. And this is your source of truth. The Ally tool, the screener tool, will not answer any question or provide any information on a program that is not here within your directory. The second thing I will show you is every single chat is recorded. So here you'll see we just had the conversation. I'm here with my grandmother and I need help. Every single conversation is recorded, and every single piece of detail in that conversation is linked here. So this can be for auditing purposes. This can be for comments. Maybe you want to pass this on to another team member. The other piece of this is screener. So we walk through that screener, and our screener using AI puts together a common application based on all the features and guidelines of your programs. And so it really simplifies 10 or 12 programs into a high-level screener to best connect people when you're here. But once you get in here, it's also very, very easy to edit these questions. Here is the question. Here is the widget type. Here's how you can design it. And so you can organize your screener. And again, this is available to you. You never have to work with Forward to do any of these customizations and designs. We also have AI support and AI assistant built into every single section or module within our platform. And the last thing I will show you is the overview. Let's go to the analytics. This is really the most exciting part to me about the Forward Ally tool. Not only is it helping to walk people through conversations, it is giving your team, your administrators, real life data on how many people are engaging with the tool, how many people are coming in through voice or text. You will see conversation sources. Forward Ally can be embedded across several different agencies. So if you are a part of an ecosystem and there are 15 nonprofits that work within your agency, all those 15 nonprofits can have the same Ally tool, have access to the same programs, and you'll be able to see that data across 15 different agencies. So imagine the interconnected possibilities of having a tool like this. It will also track topics. So you can start to see people are looking for mental health counseling, or people are really coming here to check for eligibility. This really gives you down to the detailed data to help inform, what your future planning looks like, what your new interventions look like. If you're looking to get funding around certain programs or activities, you can actually use data that your community puts in Ally to determine where do we need to go next. People are looking for mental health counseling. Also, if there are knowledge gaps, and so we have no knowledge gaps within this specific tenant, but if they are coming to your website and they are asking a question about a program that should be there, but it's not, the tool will identify those knowledge gaps. So you can go back and add that information. And so to make sure that your tool is up to date. And this really keeps your team aware of where the gaps are and where they need to be filled. And lastly, at the bottom here, you'll see top programs, and you'll also see that all of these dashboards are downloadable, but you'll see folks summer meal program, home delivery. So you can start to see where are people being guided to. And again, using this information to inform any of your interventions or your strategies. You can see 7 days, 30 days, 90 days. And that is the dashboard. Again, all the conversations that are had here, the dashboard to see your data, and then the customization. There are a lot more features here, and we will be welcome and open to demoing this further. But for the sake of this webinar, we will move into part 1 of Forward Sync. And so I'll jump back over here. And so we've seen how Ally helps people find programs, understand eligibility, and get answers to the questions, and then navigate through the services through a single conversation. But finding the right program, I think we all know, is just the first step. Once someone raises their hand to say, hey, I need help, that's when the real work begins. Organizations still need to enroll participants, coordinate staff, track progress, manage follow-up, support people through their journey. And this is also where many organizations run into a second challenge. The information is scattered across spreadsheets or emails or case notes. Staff have to recreate intake. Participants have to repeat their story over and over. And through that entire process, the valuable details and context really gets lost along the way. And that's why we have Forward Sync. Forward Sync is not a separate tool. It's just a module that sits right under Forward Ally and works directly with Forward Ally. And I'll show you how that works. Everything a constituent shared during their navigation. So I shared my grandmother's age, her income, all of that information moves with them. In their intake information, eligibility response, and program interest in conversation history. So instead of the staff having to start from a blank page after they've gone to the website, when they talk to their client, they start with context. And that means that less time is spent gathering information and more time is helping people move forward. Together with both Ally and Sync, you can create one continuous experience from discovery, what do I need, where do I start, to actually delivering that service or that support. So let me show you first what this looks like from the staff perspective, and then we'll go into the participant perspective. And so we will go back to our Forward tool. So again, everything lives within one place in one space. And now we will go to cases. And so when we go to cases, we did an intake through the screener. We'll actually use Melissa Johnson as an example. And so when Melissa answered the questions within that screener or within that chat, we captured her name, her email address. She decided to not use income, but all of that is here. And this can then be converted to a case. And so we will convert this to a case within the system. And then we will actually go to our cases. And so this view is actually the view that your case managers or your staff will have. This is like our case management, our care management system. And so once you are within the system, you've collected the information from intake, and now you're here. And so once we jump into one of our clients, we will go into one of the client's cases. And so this is, for example, Melissa Johnson. Based on her responses, you can also identify a risk. Is this a high risk client, a low risk, or mid risk client? And from the programs that she was recommended to apply for, the elderly nutrition program, it will create an action plan. You'll see here the 3 or 4 steps that are part of that action plan. It will assign dates. And a really, really cool feature is a visual walkthrough of that action plan. So I will play that now. And just as a reminder, she's come through the system. She told Ally she needs help and support. And so now she has an action plan. And this is how she can be walked through it on her phone through the system. You know, if you
First up,
hear this,
you'll need to gather your necessary documents for enrollment. This includes proof of income and identification. Having these ready is crucial for a smooth application process.
Once you have everything together, your next step will be to submit your application for the Elderly Nutrition Program. Getting this done by June 30th will put you on the right track to receiving support.
And don't forget, your case manager will schedule a follow-up check-in with you to discuss any questions or concerns about the application process.
This is a great chance to clarify anything you might be unsure about.
And so imagine the possibilities of being able to verbalize and visualize what the next steps are for a client. This is not just available for a view for the case manager. I'll show you all what this looks like within the client portal. But the second piece I'll show you here are check-ins. So you can automatically generate check-ins and reminders. You can generate agendas based on the program that they've enrolled in or showed interest in, and you can start a session check-in. So when you're on a call with one of your clients, you have the agenda that we used AI to automate. And you have just areas where you can start to leave notes or information, and you can schedule the next check-in. The third piece is once a person is within your system, they now have access to all the programs that it recommended for them. And as you add additional programs, they will also pop up here. And this is where your team can manage referrals. So you'll see here that we referred Miss Johnson to the elderly nutrition program. You can log that she has completed the senior companion program. So thinking about when you have one client and they may use multiple services from your agency or your organization, you rarely know all the services that one client is using. But with this tool, again, you're able to visualize all of the support that your client is receiving. And lastly, which is really cool and really important, inside of this case, you also have a communication center. So you will see high-level details about this client. You will also see case notes. You can send and receive emails from this exact platform, as well as text messages. We have found text messages to be most beneficial when engaging with clients, and you can text directly from the platform. There's no need for a cell phone. And then the second is a phone call. You can receive and make outbound phone calls all within this platform. And so the more that your team engages with Ms. Johnson, who first came in through Ally and now is a case within Forward Sync, all of her referral history, all of her programs, all of the engagement that you're going to do with her is here within her profile. And that is just one case. You'll see, again, the view here, it'll show the source. Where did this person come from? Screener, intake. It'll show all of the clients. And the last thing that I'll show you here are the analytics. And so similarly to Forward Ally, you can see all the conversations over time. If you are a manager or administrator of multiple team members, you can see the entire caseload across all programs. How many people have come in through the front door? Where are they on a risk level? Again, you can create a risk level based on assessments for your clients. What is the status? Are people active? Are they still in assessment? Are they still in monitoring? How many overdue cases? Towards the bottom here, you'll see the programs that they've been enrolled in. And then also you can see a status or a check-in, a status across check-ins. So here are all the check-in cadences over time. The coverage health, 25 of 33 cases or active cases have been checked in within the past 30 days. You can see how many check-ins haven't been made. You can track trajectory and you can track check-in type and quality. And then the last one is referrals. We all want to know, when you came through our front door, maybe you applied for one of our programs, but you actually applied, or we referred you to 5 or 6 different programs that are within our ecosystem. You can start to see that here. How many have been referred? How many of those referrals through your communication and updates through your clients have they actually been enrolled in? How many have been withdrawn? And you can see by program name how many referrals there are by program name. And again, this is all without code. This is all without having to have a really strong tech background. All of what I'm showing you is functional within the platform and within Forward Sync. The last part of this webinar that I will show you, and I know this is a lot of walkthroughs, but Forward Sync is not only designed for just staff, it's also designed for the people who are seeking the support as well. Participants can log into a personalized dashboard, which I'm going to show you, where they can view their progress. They can track their program status. They can receive updates and access recommended resources. And instead of wondering if their application was received or what happens next, they have a single front door to also stay connected to their journey. And what this creates is continuity. The same conversation that helps someone find the right program now becomes the foundation for ongoing engagement and support. And so the result is more transparent experience for participants and fewer administrative burdens for staff. And so the last piece that I will show you, I have logged into the client's portal. So this is home. And I believe this profile is Melissa Johnson. And so you'll see that there's 3 tasks remaining. This is, to me, also a really, really cool feature. There's an action plan, but there are things that Ms. Johnson has to complete. You'll see the reminders here on the right-hand side. This is all generated from the action plans. And so she'll see how many action plans that are on her plan. She'll see things that she needs to do and things that your case manager is handling. How amazing is that? Again, making sure that your clients are also engaged and have a clear pathway to understanding what's next. I showed you this walkthrough before on the case manager side, but this walkthrough and this visualization is available within that client portal. And I didn't mention, but our entire platform is mobile first. So I'm showing you this in the demo on a desktop, but this is all mobile first. So she can log in and see her plan, what she has to do next. She can see how many programs she's been referred to, what are active referrals, when it's been started. What is really cool about this too is she can also post an update. So say if she was referred to the early nutrition program and she wants to let her case manager know that the person didn't answer the phone. This program, you can only enroll by the phone, by calling. There's no online application, but you can post that update within this program. And the case manager is able to see that message from Ms. Johnson regarding the status or what next steps are for the elderly nutrition program. The last thing here is actually the programs that she can then toggle through. She may only be interested in having enrolled in this one specific program, but as programs are added to this agency's ecosystem, those programs now become available to Ms. Johnson without her ever having to go back to Forward Ally. She never has to put in her information again. And so this is really where when somebody comes through the front door once, the hope is that they come through one time and they stay. They don't have to keep going through this revolving door. They don't have to keep submitting information. One piece here, this is her profile. So anytime that this information changes, maybe her household size and data has changed, she can actually update it here. And this will then update across all of the cases. It'll also update her eligibility or recommendations for programs. And so I will stop there. I know there are a few more questions, but I'll get through these last few slides. And so just key takeaways: Ally extended the team. The system knew its limits. It will only answer questions that it has information on. And Ally and Sync work together to create a seamless flow of from engagement to actual delivery of programs. And so is this a right fit for your agency? Navigation is creating operational bottlenecks, and this would be a really good fit if intake drop-off is reoccurring. So people have a big interest, but for some reason they're not completing their application or they're not coming to the table with the right information. And teams keep answering repetitive questions, and program and workflows are clearly defined. This will be a really, really great fit for you. And so if this is a really great fit for you, what I walked you through today is actually a demo that was generated through our demo generator. And so today, if you go to this website or scan this QR code, you can generate your own Ally and Sync demo with the specific information from your agency. And so no setup is required. You will literally just drop your website name within the generator. You answer a few questions and you will receive a link to start to play with Forward Ally and Forward Sync. Ask it questions, upload documents or upload programs. And next, we'll talk with you. So if you register to, if you generate your own Ally or Sync demo, you will get a link to start your demo today. Next steps, we would reach out to you to really understand what are the needs for your agency. We showed you 2 modules and 2 of our tools within our toolbox today, but we do a lot more. And so before we ask you to purchase anything, we want to chat with you to understand what your needs are, and if there are additional navigation challenges your team might be experiencing. And thirdly, we will share the recording of this session. I did see very quickly that some folks may have had challenges with the AI recording. I apologize if that function wasn't turned on, but you will get a recorded session of this demo today to share with your colleagues or your team members. And so we will stop now. If there are any questions, I'm not sure if the questions were all answered already. Thank you to the team that have been answering questions as we move through the webinar. But I hope you all found this helpful. I'll actually go back to this page here. Again, you can go to the website now, generate your own Ally and Sync demo, and we will be reaching out to talk more about what your team needs and how we can support your work. I will stop sharing. Awesome. Any questions? Let's see. One open. How is ALTA University to keep up with established best practices, and how is presentation with other NGOs? I can follow up with you, George, on that. The answer to that is a bit more detailed, but I will screenshot this question and I will reach out and provide that information back to you. Any other questions? The other thing that I did not mention, so Forward Ally, we looked at it through through the voice option and through the chat option. It is also available through IVR. So we have created the tool to be the front end of your call center or your phone number. And so very similarly to the Ally demo, when you call your agency's phone number, it will say, what's your name? What's your age? What can I help you answer today? And so imagine a scenario where a person can call and get the answers to their questions before they're then connected to a staff member. And so we didn't have time today during the demo to walk through the IVR scenario, but we have found that to be super helpful for our agencies and teams that we work with, especially to expand service to folks who may not use a computer or have a cell phone. There is still a phone number that you can associate with your Ally tool that give people the option to call in and to get the same answers and be connected with case managers. The other thing that I will mention before we close out is Forward Ally I shared as a tool for one agency to use. There is the capability for this to be a hub. And so imagine if you're one agency, but you work within an ecosystem of 5 to 10 other nonprofit agencies. All of your programs and information could live within one tool. And so what that then enables is if you come to Melissa's nonprofit, but you actually need service from nonprofit B, when you come through the front door, it will direct you not just to the programs within my agency, but it will also direct you to programs within our network. And so multiple nonprofits can operate under one Ally tool. Again, to create an ecosystem of support for the communities they serve. We all know people usually need support from multiple agencies, and the more teams that are using this tool, the more interconnected the support is and can be given to your communities. And so we would love, if that's of interest, I think I see a comment here around 70 agencies. We can definitely talk about what an integration tool looks like there. And I really encourage you to try the free demo experience. Exactly what you saw today is what you have access to today. This program and platform is live. Download it today. Drop in your website, have some fun with it, answer some questions. As I mentioned, I always wish that this was a tool that the communities that I serve had access to. And I just feel so honored to be in position to share this tool, share AI, share technology. Public servants deserve to have the best tools at their fingertips, and this is one of them. And so to get started, please download the demo. I thank you all for your service. I thank you all for the time that you give to increasing and expanding just access to the residents and communities that you serve. And we hope to be a partner in your next step of improving navigation for your clients. Thank you so much today, and you will receive a recording of this demo. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.